Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you are around the world. My name is Sifu Bryan. I'm a non-paramedic conflict teacher with over 30 years experience. It is the 21st of May 2023. Let's get straight to my quote of the day. We need leaders not in love with money, but in love with justice, not in love with publicity, but in love with humanity. Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. Phenomenal quote, phenomenal quote. I love that quote. And there are so many leaders around the world that basically have forgotten their oath to the people. They're not in love with humanity or with the people. They're in love with money and power. And we've seen that over the last 2 years with the shenanigans that went on with literally destroying people's businesses, destroying people's lives over a code. But I'm hoping, and it's looked like justice is coming very soon for these leaders, because a lot of people have had enough and they are starting to vote these so-called leaders out. They've forgotten who the masses are, which are us, the people. They're supposed to serve the people, not themselves. But anyway, have people heard of BRICS? It's an acronym, and it stands for Brazil, Russia, India, China, South Africa. And these countries have come together. I've mentioned this before in another video, but these countries have come together to trade amongst themselves. Now, BRICS' sole purpose is to trade in non-US trade currencies. So let me say that part again. BRICS' sole purpose is to trade in non-US trade currencies. So the US dollar being the dominant power, and I have to say was, because now these countries have gotten together, kiss goodbye to the dollar. It will no longer be the dominant force, which is probably good in one way, because the US were really the bully boys. And if they didn't like what you were doing, they would sanction you, destroy your economy, and so forth. And I have to say, not the American people. When I talk about the US, I'm talking about the government. Yeah, not the people. The people are cool. It's always these people that are in power. They get power hungry and so forth. But yeah. So on the 25th of April 2023, it was announced that 19 additional countries wanted to join BRICS. Saudi Arabia, AU, Turkey, Mexico. These are massive economies, massive. Western economies are slowing down, but the BRICS countries are seeing a lot of growth. Now, in our media, or the mainstream media, it's telling us a whole lot of baloney. Alright, like especially with Russia, they say, oh, Russia's on the edge and all this nonsense. It's like, no, we've got social media, we've got alternative media, and we're seeing the reality, and everything this mainstream media is saying is now being debunked, and we can now do it within seconds. So the mainstream media, they're losing their power, and they know they're losing their power. But anyway, 70% of transactions are done using the US dollar. The Financial Times and the Wall Street Journal are massive financial papers, but they're not really covering what's going on with these other nations that have come together. That should be a big red flag, and you should ask yourself why, because this information is gathering steam now. It's all over the place now. all over the place, yet these financial establishment are not talking about it. You have to ask yourself why. The 1st of June, this is by Janet Leon. She works for the US Treasury. She says, by the 1st of June 2023, the US could run out of cash. The US debt ceiling, they're deciding whether to raise the US debt ceiling. It looks like they will do this because they cannot afford to default on their debts. Because the thing is, if they default on their debts, that will have massive impact on not just the US but on countries worldwide. But in saying that now, because of these BRIC nations, and more nations are joining the BRICS, and they're going to be using, so they're not going to be using paper money. They're going to be using they're going to be backed by assets. So whatever the assets of that country is, they're going to be backed by. So in some countries they're using gold. In other countries they may be using oil, or they may be using diamonds, coal, gas, whatever their thing is. We've been told for the UK is going to be the sterling silver, but it's been said that it's not been made official yet about the UK. So for whatever reason they're trying to keep it quiet for now. But anyway, so with the US economy, it cannot afford to debunk on its debts. So we're going to have to keep a close eye on that. But the 1st of July, keep an eye on that one. They also go on to say that obviously Saudi Arabia are open to selling oil in non-US dollars. Again, that is huge, and you can now see the shift in power. US have cut off countries in the past, like I said before, from the SWIFT system, like Russia. But Russia's laughing because they've already set themselves up. So Russia is not getting hurt. It's the European economies that are getting hurt, and it's now rebounding obviously into job losses. They're printing money like it's going out of fashion. Yeah, it's not great. In 2022, central banks purchased the highest amount of gold since records began. In 2023, they are buying gold at the fastest rates on records. Don't listen to what you are being told to do. Do what the banks are actually doing. So a lot of them are buying gold. So, do as they do. Buy gold. Because they know the paper currency, you can't keep printing. Yeah, eventually you're just gonna destroy your economy. So do what they are, buy gold. And people say, oh, but how can I buy gold? Gold or silver. There are so many companies now coming up that is making it available for people like you, me, normal people. You have access to this now, so you can do this. But it's important that we keep an eye on what's going on around the world, and do our own research. Definitely do our own research. But let me read this quote one more time. We need leaders not in love with money, but in love with justice. Not in love with publicity, but in love with humanity. This is what we need. So, on that note, don't forget to like, share and comment, and of course subscribe if you're new around here. And on that note, take care and stay blessed.